Welcome back, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys. I'm Eric. That's my pal. Tell him your name.
Dave.
Good, sir. Dave. My pal Dave. Everybody that's with us on Twitch, thank you for joining us for our monthly incoming episode that we always check to see what is going to be hitting stores and websites where we can shop and buy our comics. So everybody watching on Twitch, thank you for being with us. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that rate and subscribe button. Share it with your friends, other people who love comic books. On the podcast platforms, again, rate and subscribe us. We're on all of them. I don't need to list them all. But most importantly, omniversecomics.guide is your one-stop shop for everything that we're known for doing. Well, that good gentleman, he's on my left, my right?
I don't know.
You. I'm talking about you. We got reading orders, we got podcasts, we got creator interviews, collector item special
exclusives.
Episodes. We've got exclusive comics for kids section. If you into reading comics, that site is top choice. So, omniversecomics.guide.
Yay!
Dave, it's that time of the month again.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Are we synced up? They usually sync up, right?
Yeah, I think we're synced up.
I think this month we're pretty synced up because I looked at the things that I've already pre-ordered.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize might be coming out that I'm going to want to buy somewhere down the road.
Uh-oh.
And, yeah. And then, of course, there's stuff that you're going to list where I'm like, oh, man, I got something to look. I got to look for this.
Oh,
your turn to go first.
Straight in. All right, do you know what I'm going to do, dude? I'm going to do...
anything that I missed? Sorry, we went straight in. Is there anything that...
Oh, we've got a mailbag.
We got to talk about the mailbag.
Yeah, man. It's
right.
Omniverse Mail Bag time. I recently ordered a print for one of my favourite artists, Mr. Des Taylor. This was the print. Look at it. That's a thing of beauty. So Des Taylor was a guest on one of the collector's item specials. And
beautiful.
Yeah, his stuff is incredible. That is such a cool print, right?
Yeah, very nice.
So it's like a 1970s Supergirl. You can get 1970s Wonder Woman and a couple of others like in that same vein. They've done a Barbara Gordon as well. I can't remember. But yeah, he's. I love his artwork. It's got a kind of animated style to it.
It's very cool.
It's really cool. But what he did was he signed it for me, which isn't the norm, which was lovely. And then he sent me 2 more prints.
What?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the Super Soda print. So these are some of his variant covers he did with like what would you call that? Like a 1950s kind of vibe.
Yeah.
To those characters.
I would say so. Yeah. Very nice.
And signed. And a little Star Trek-y one.
What? Are you a Star Trek fan?
I'm not, but I know someone who is.
Ooh.
So that's really cool. So yeah, he sent me some bonus stuff because he's so cool and he was really happy with being on the show. So yeah. If you like that style, seriously, treat yourself. Go onto his website. It's despopart.com. That's DESPOPART.com. Yeah, grab yourself some prints because his stuff is so cool, man. He does a lot of really sweet DC stuff. But you'll also get some Marvel characters and characters from other shows, and he does them all in that style. He's also got his own comic book, which is Scarlet Couture, which has just had a sequel out as well. So a couple of books there. But yeah, go and have a look.
Thank you for making me take pause for a second because I got distracted in the hype of just getting into the episode. But it's been a bit of a week, and I think it should be acknowledged that out of the blue, one of comics' titans is no longer with us. And I feel it'd be appropriate to just acknowledge that for one.
Yes.
Because John Cassaday I was a big fan of his, and I know we've both been very big fans of his work.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I would always recommend when it comes down to best X-Men or, must read comics, his art, like something he worked on would have to be mentioned because it was worthy.
Yeah.
Planetary.
Yeah, I was going to say Planetary is like one of my all-time favorite books ever. And his art is throughout and it's a thing of absolute beauty.
I remember my pal Shane. He's not a big like omnibus guy, but the one omnibus he had on his shelf was Planetary, and I was like, "Why this one?" And when you take the slipcover off, the print around the book, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but it's really cool.
Yeah,
and it's just like
nice little touch.
It's so neat, right? Those experiences within the medium when somebody when someone's work is able to transcend like that, he's going to be missed.
He will be missed, yeah. He will be. He's definitely hit some really big notes with a lot of people, whether it be, like you say, on Superman, X-Men, Planetary, anything you could pick. There's gold in there.
Huge loss. Young man, heartbreaking. So he'll be missed for sure. So rest in peace to John Cassaday. Not to bring it down a further note, but I also wanted to send a shout out to my friend Martin Slam Duncan, and who he has a podcast, Fastball Special, that he doesn't run regularly anymore, but we were podcast buddies years and years ago. We're still pals to this day. He's the Sketchomania host. His wife passed away this weekend. She was fighting with cancer for quite some time. Very, very inspirational people. He was on our show in the Omniverse for his Frankenstein Visions, Kickstarter. Yeah, his Frankenstein Visions Kickstarter. He's going to be doing some more comics coming up. He's writing his own book.
Right.
So he's come a long way from me and him going to cons together to podcasting to now being a book publisher. Mm-hmm. And his wife was the biggest cheerleader for all of us all the time. She will be sorely, sorely missed, because not only because it was my buddy's wife, but the way that she lived her life, even though it was difficult for quite some time, was truly inspirational. So rest in peace to Sue. We'll miss you. And to my pal Martin, I love you, buddy. I don't know if you'll watch this, but I love you, buddy. Now, your first incoming month of October. Holy shit, it's October.
Oh, dude, this year has run away.
Yeah.
Hasn't it?
But it has, but there's been a lot of good highlights.
There's been some good highlights, yeah. And actually, there's more to come. So I'm going to start off with one of my favorite titles of all time. It's in my top 5 favorite comic books of all time.
Yes.
It's Revival Compendium from Image. So it's due out on the 8th of October. It's 1,200 pages.
I've been waiting for this one.
It's a beaut, man. It's a beaut. It's impossible to be disappointed with this book. It's so good. The art is perfect throughout. The writing is fantastic. So it's written by Tim Seeley. The art is by Mike Norton. Mike Norton's art on this, I think I've previously compared it to like a slightly more toned down version of Paul Pelletier. This is an incredible book. So when I first read it, I read it in deluxe format, and it was 12 issues for volume 1. And while I was finishing issue 12, I was basically having a massive panic on the train, just going, I can't leave this. I can't leave it here. So I ordered the next book immediately. Like, I had to continue. It's a mystery series that's with elements of horror. It's not a zombie book, but there are undead elements to it, but in a way that you aren't likely to see in much else. So there's a small Wisconsin town where the most recently deceased come back to life. They come back almost like regular people, though there are certain signs about them that you can tell that they've been dead. But when they come back with their secrets. So some are murdered, some know things that they maybe weren't known before. Some have found out little things about other people in the town, and also you need to find out what happened. Why did they come back? I've got to admit, as a reason for why everyone came back, it's a big build-up because it's 47 issues. So you're kind of going, this is going to have to be a good one. And I remember going, oh, about that, but it doesn't matter because the journey is so good. So I've given this series throughout 5 stars all the way through, pretty much every issue. I think the earlier issues are like, while it warms up, it's like a 4-star book, but it ends up being 5 by the end of that deluxe edition. It is seriously one of my top 5 books of all time for a reason. It's genius.
That's so exciting.
So it's kind of a crime drama. It's kind of a horror. There's a lot of mystery. You know I love my mysteries, mate, don't you? I like a bit of that. It's such an exciting series. And there's just so many other developments as well. And like in any of these things where there's this element of supernatural goings on, the real monsters are the humans. But they do it so well. They do it so well. It's great stuff. An absolutely stunning, fine example of why comics are an incredible medium. And this is how you do it right.
Nice. That's what they should put on the back of the cover. This is how you do it right when it comes to comics. That's the tag. Nice. I had this on my list as well as a I'm just going to give it a shot because of the high praise that you've given it, literally. All right. It's probably going to be on your list as well. So apologies that I'm stealing it.
Steal
But it's
away.
going to be a volume 2. We don't always do volume 2s, but we've spoken a lot about this writer, this series ad nauseum, and it's pre-ordered, so I have to talk about it at least. It's the Green Lantern Corps Volume 2 Omnibus, Peter Tomasi, Patrick Gleason. It collects quite a bit of comics here. We got 1,328 pages. As far as what's listed, I don't quite understand. I think with the Peter Tomasi omnibuses, when I had spoken to him at a con maybe last March or so,
Yeah.
he had said that he just wanted the omnibus to collect
His stuff only.
his stuff only.
Yeah.
So there's a gap here, issues 39 to 47, and then it picks up at 59 to 60. So
they're written by Tony Bedard, I think, those issues.
Okay, the Green Lantern Corps. Okay.
Yeah.
But then issues 0 to 20 from the New 52, Emerald Warriors 1 to 13, Green Lantern 65, 67. There's quite a bit here, but it seems to be mainly the Peter Tomasi stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they did that with the first one, because originally the first one was going to have, there were 2-3 issues that were written by Dave Gibbons, and then they took them out before the release. So I think he wanted it to be his on the Superman book, but then apparently he didn't want it to be that anal, I guess. For Green Lantern Corps, he wanted it to be right. He wanted it to be everything, but then they kind of stuck to that previous rule. Something like that, apparently, from what I remember. Wasn't it?
Because the volume 1 has a lot of the Dave Gibbons stuff. Like it collects issues 1 all the way to
there's 9 and 10 are missing, or 8, 9, and 10 are missing. That's an Omniverse public service announcement. It's 4 to 6 that are missing,
and I'm not sure what the reason for that is, because they're not Peter Tomasi comes into that run
late.
Maybe like a quarter of the book is written by him.
Yeah.
So for this one, I'm just a little confused as what we're missing and if it is going to feel like a big chunk of information gone. But whatever the case, this is the volume 2 to complete the set. Hopefully it reads and makes sense with whatever issues might be missing. I'm sure it will.
It'd be better if they hadn't.
Yeah, I guess it's
here we are.
Yeah, that's the that's the one disappointment I have with the Superman and Son Omnibus. Is that what it's even titled? Yeah, it's a Superman Rebirth. Is that there's a James Robinson story that's not included, and it's a pretty good one too.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's a great book. I know there's stuff missing, but they've done this with the Grant Morrison Justice League book when they did JLA, and they missed out certain issues, but they collected them later in a Tower of Babel deluxe edition. So they may do the same with this. I'm a bit confused as to why they've done it this way, like you say, but just because stuff's missing, don't be put off. This is an incredible series. Incredible series. I loved it.
Yes.
This took me from, I didn't want to read Green Lantern Corps at all, and then I loved it more than Green Lantern. So if you are wondering how this fits in with the Jeff Johns Green Lantern book, there will be a guide to it, hopefully before the end of the year.
Dave, thank you for speaking so highly. I made it sound like, this book's missing stuff. I'm going to buy it. I don't know, but it's on the list because Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason are one of the best tag teams in comics. Take it away, Dave.
Okay.
Number 2.
I'm trying to figure out what I was going to replace one of mine with. Now that's gone. So I'm just going to move forward for the minute, right? My number 2 is it's from Image Comics, but it was originally from Marvel. It's the I.Joe Real American Hero Compendium, Volume 1. I think, because they've done this already on Kickstarter as like a box set.
Yes.
Which was a beautiful thing. And if my life had been different, cool. I would have got it. I literally would have just here you go. Take everything I have. Here, I'm going to sell my children. Give me the box set. Now. So it's a Real American Hero. It's G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, the Larry Hama stuff, 1 to 50.
How many compendiums is this going to be?
To answer Eric's question properly, because I clearly didn't do my research before the show, it will be 4 volumes of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero in compendium format, and will include all 155 issues, plus the G.I. Joe yearbooks, the Special Missions series, G.I. Joe Special number 1, and G.I. Joe Order of Battle number 1 to 4, which is essentially the handbook, as well as G.I. Joe and the Transformers numbers 1 to 4.
Only reason I ask is because the recent G.I. Joe series that they're relaunching is starting from issue 301. So I'm like, did this series go 300 issues?
It jumped to different publishers.
I see.
So it was with IDW for a bit.
So are they going to collect all of that now?
Good question. No idea. Yeah. It's the same continuity.
I did pre-order this.
You did?
Because I've never read it, and I saw it for a really good deal, and it collected quite a bit of issues, and I'm like, this is a big part of Larry Hama's legend, right? Is G.I. Joe stuff. Yeah. Very much so, right? So I said, I got to give this a try.
The one thing I will say, and this is we always try and do this from a place of honesty. I love doing a reread. I've been working on a G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero reading order for a while, but I've been dipping in and out of it. Yeah, what are the chances, right? But it's a big job. So, and a big reread, and I've had to stop here and there, but the early issues are quite dated. But if you start reading it and you're 10 issues in and you're going, I don't understand what the appeal is, it's because it hasn't hit its stride yet. Issue 21 is the one where it really hits, because that's the silent issue.
Right.
I would just try and have fun with it. Then around about issue 20, 25-ish, I think, it really picks up. There's something really charming about it from that point on. There's a silliness to it. They're trying to incorporate the toys, and the toys got weirder. And Larry Hama's trying to, using actual military experiences and history and knowledge to then try and make this make sense. We're like, so Cobra Commander's now dressed in armor and he jumps around in a 3-legged pogo stick machine? Like, yes, he does. Why? Don't ask. They're going to bring back they're going to make a clone out of all the genetic material of some of the biggest leaders in history and turn him into Serpentor. Who, I used to pronounce it Serpentor, right? Serpentor, mate. I'm Jeff Serpentor.
That's great.
And he's in it. So there's a lot of silliness, and it gets sillier as it goes on, but it's a fun series, man. But again, it's one of those things where it's of its time. Read it and make the most of it and relish it for what it is, because it is a fun book, and I'm missing it now that I'm talking about it, because I think I read up to about issue 50. It's a great book, man. It's really, really fun stuff.
Nice. I had this on my list as well, as well as Revival. So thank you
for stealing two.
No. I made a big list this month. It's all good, because I figured we'd have a lot of overlapping things that we probably both purchased or are excited that is being released. So no problem. I'm happy that they're being mentioned. That's so cool. All right. Cool. I'll stick with it then, because I've eliminated some things on my pre-order list.
Me too.
And G.I. Joe hasn't been one of them. So I'm like, I want to give it a shot.
Treat yourself.
See the influence you got?
Terrible influence.
Terrible. Because you like G.I. Joe and Revival, I'm giving them a chance. Ridiculous.
Oh shit, these better be good.
No, I think Revival for sure is going to live up to the hype. The next one that is going to be pre-ordered is the Marvel vs. DC Omnibus, not the amalgam one. I'm referring to the Marvel vs. DC, just for clarity, because both of them are being released at the same day, right? So you might be wondering, which one is it that you're referring to? I'm actually referring specifically to one of them that collects the one-shots that were Superman vs. Spider-Man, Spider-Man and Batman, the Hulk versus Batman. These treasury editions
Dark
that
Side
are so
and
hard to
Galactus,
find.
Silver Surfer and Green Lantern, Fantastic Four, Superman. If you want a list, Joey, you can get one. Go to the Omniverse Comics Guide. That's omniversecomics.guide website.
No,
there is actually a reading order for all the Marvel versus DC crossovers.
I remember early on, you were very, very on a very passionate rant saying, I don't know how they just don't make this. People are going to buy it. Do it. I said it here.
Yeah.
And when it all came to, I'm like, you see, someone out there is listening.
Well, it must have taken some politicking, because DC and Marvel haven't necessarily got on overly well the last couple of decades.
Right.
So it's interesting it took this long. I wonder what was going on behind the scenes. And I wonder if this is going to be the first and only time that these will be released.
I canceled the other one. I
How
had ordered
come?
both. One, they're expensive. There's a lot coming
Yeah.
out in October that I had like this was meant to be out in August. I remember initially, and they've been pushed and pushed, and all of a sudden you've got a bunch of pretty big books coming in all in 1 month,
Hmm.
and what's included, the only reason that I would want the second one is strictly for the completionist aspect,
Yeah.
not even to really, I don't really care to read it,
Oh, God.
not to, but like I didn't, even when I see them now, like I don't get excited, oh, Amalgam, I got a classic, like I don't feel that way about it. And I
No.
know for some people that was their time of being excited about something like that happening, which is cool, but I really was hoping and excited about these things being collected. This is what really piqued my interest and what I really, really want to have. I came close one time to buying one of those old graphic novel DC Marvel crossovers that collected a lot of these
Oh, the trade
books in them,
paperbacks.
the
Yeah.
trade paperback
I think
ones.
there were
And
about 4.
yeah, it collected quite a bit, and I found a few volumes of it where I'm like, ooh, there's a couple of them here that almost make a set, and I was very, very close to buying them in that original format, which would have been cool because it was kind of like a first printing of those crossovers collected, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%
I
sure,
think
but
it was,
I'm
yeah.
happy this is
I think you're right.
I'm happy this is coming out.
Also, I think you've made the right choice. Having reread Amalgam a little while ago, it's a fun idea. I can't point at a great one. At even one of those issues. Not one. Maybe Lobo the Duck, because it looked great. But 2 of the issues are missing still, as far as I know. They've still kept those 2 issues out that were written by the dodgy guy. They've taken those issues out, which also makes it incomplete, which is it's annoying. And I know there's a whole debate around that, but let's not get into that. But it's incomplete.
Yeah.
Okay, I am excited about this book. So this is from Dynamite. I know very little about it other than it's written by Declan Shalvey. The artist is Drew Moss. It's Thundercats Volume 1, Omens. Going back to the 80s yet again, so it was I.Joe and now it's Thundercats. It is one fine looking book. There are some really nice covers on this series. I don't know how the interiors match up. You can read a sample on certain websites that will go unnamed. It's 136 pages, so what's that, about 12, 6 issues? Sorry, 12. 6 issues. I think it's not clear on the site I'm using how many issues are in it, but
It's about 6, 7.
it's about that, right? I
Yeah.
love Thunder. I don't realize how much I love Thundercats until something like this happens. A while ago, I got some Converse trainers that were Thundercats. When I saw them in the shop, I got so excited.
Who's publishing it? Dynamite?
Dynamite, yeah.
Of course. Continue with your sneaker story. I
I
love
was-
a good. No,
That
sorry.
was literally, that was pretty much it. Well, I wore them to a meeting at work, and it was quite a serious meeting with the popos. So I sat in this meeting with people from the police, and then my boss is literally just looking at my trainers, just like, while everyone else is looking. They were so loud. They had the logo on, and then on one side, and then the actual characters all down the other side. And at the end of the meeting, I had a couple of them come up to me and just go, Where did you get those trainers? Like, I need to get those trainers.
Nice.
They're so cool.
Are you prone to collecting sneakers that are, or we call them sneakers, but trainers that are tied in with some sort of comic or cartoon thing? Is that your thing?
I do
Yeah.
I do like reference stuff. Yeah, my current ones are Transformers the movie related, like
Nice.
the '80s Transformers the movie. So I love them. I love them.
My wife had a pair of the Super Friends, Chuck Taylors. Yeah, it was a gray pair, but it had the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez type style.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So one shoe was the villains and one shoe was the Justice League.
I
It was
want
cool.
those now. Do you do it? Do you get them?
I would. I avoid it
Why?
because I would go too far. I wouldn't stop. That's the thing. Like I like Jordans. In North America, Jordans are still a big, sort of sneaker thing.
Uh-huh.
So when I see something that I like, I'll put my money towards that because that was my sneaker as a kid that I really loved. I have a couple more recent ones that feed into the nostalgia of when I was a kid, right? So I'll spend my money towards that. If I start getting comic book reference sneakers, I won't stop. I'm not balanced. That's right, BC. I save my money for hats, 100%. And it's not even because I'm bald. I just don't like to comb my hair.
I get asked this question a lot. Does Eric have hair?
If I'm bald?
Yeah. I get asked this a lot.
That's hilarious. No, I got a head full of hair. My mom and my wife get mad at me like, why don't you just fix your hair? See? Head full of hair.
He's got actual hair. He comes like a 70s action man. He's got a little lever on the back of his head to move his eyes. Moving on.
What number are we on? This podcast got away from us.
We've derailed. So it was Thundercats was my number 3.
Thundercats, yes.
I don't know how I ended it. Oh, we're talking about trainers. Whenever I see Thundercats, I get excited. It's one of the best TV theme tunes of all time. That opening sequence on that cartoon is still really cool. It still looks amazing. And my band covered it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into very much Thundercats mythology myself. I've kind of missed the boat on it, but everyone who did just raves about it.
There's something about it. I think the key things to remember are that the Thundercats are on the move and Thundercats are loose. And then just go from there.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
And that sword is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it was a very cool opening credits. I remember watching it. Yeah.
And then it gets bigger as he plays around with it. So, it's a metaphor.
What's going on in the advertising of the Omniverse, Dave? Tell us about it.
Well, we're going to take a look at some of our most popular posts from the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
Here we go. Countdown. At number 5, it's Authority Reading Order, 1999 to 2011. At number 4, Wonder Woman Reading Order, 2011 to 2015 has come back up again. Ooh. Wonder what's happening there. Number 3, we've got the Zenith reading order, our first 2000 AD reading order. That was incredibly popular this month. Wild. And at number 2, Secret Wars 1984 to 1985. That's probably people thinking it's the more recent Secret Wars and getting the wrong one. And at number 1, it's Ultimate Spider-Man reading order 2000 to 2018. Still our most popular reading order on the site.
Nice.
Right. Hey, you.
Anything else to announce?
No.
My turn, number 3?
Number 3 time. Tell us, what do you got, Erickson?
Number 3. I'm going to bore everybody again by talking about Valiant Comics.
Woo!
I know we just recently did an episode about it. However, October 29th, the Valiant Hero Universe Origins, or this particular collection, is going to have included in it the Valiant issues 1 to 4, which is a miniseries, from, I think both Jeff Lemire and Matt Kindt worked on that together.
I think so.
And then Bloodshot Reborn issues 1 to 9, which was from Jeff Lemire, if memory serves correctly.
Yes.
Both very, very worthwhile series. Paulo Rivera is one of the artists that was, I think, the main artist on the Valiant 4-issue series.
Yep.
Don't remember the artist that worked on the Reborn. However, I will say it's very worthwhile to pick this up if you haven't read Valiant yet. It is kind of in the middle of some of the things that have occurred, but it is a good jumping on point. Don't be trepidatious to give this a shot because you feel like you may have to read some other things. Everything catches you up real well, and it's a great example of like a 4-issue series bringing you up to speed on everything you need to know about this entire comic book universe, with a story that involves the Geomancer as the central figure, but how everybody plays a key central role in the story. It's very, very well done. Highly recommend it. And it's a great place, again, to give this line a shot.
Good shout.
Jeff Lemire, Matt Kindt. You can't go wrong.
You can't. I haven't read that Bloodshot Reborn series yet, but I think a couple of people said they tried Bloodshot, the first series, and they weren't that keen on it because it's a lot more traditionally action-orientated. Yes. I think this is Jeff Lemire, like you said, you don't necessarily need to have read the previous series. So if you do want to jump on at this point, that is a really good jumping on point. They have released Bloodshot, the Valiant Hero Universe Origins Bloodshot one, but there should be another book that sits between that and the Valiant, but it's not been announced yet. My number 4 tonight is from Dark Horse. It's actually one of my recommendations for the year for, I think, 2022, but it's in library edition. The Lonesome Hunters Library Edition collects both minis as in one book. So originally I chose Lonesome Hunters 1 to 4, I think, for one of my choices for 2022, best books of the year. But this collects, well, I thought it was going to collect the whole story. But on the hardcover, on the deluxe edition, it says book 1. So maybe there's more to come, which I am cool with. It's a great looking series. It reads really nicely. It's very minimalist. It's kind of a creepy horror vibe again, which I seem to be digging tonight. It's by Tyler Crook. That's the story and the art. And it's a beautiful book to look at even. And it's very eerie. Again, lots of mystery. What's the big sword about? There's a dude who was a monster hunter, ends up befriending a girl who loses her father to some strange creature with crows coming out of his face or something. It's very bizarre. But it's one of those good, reliable Dark Horse titles that you really, really look forward to picking up. It's the Lonesome Hunters Library Edition, Volume 1. So presumably we're going to get a Volume 2 Library Edition. So there must be enough Lonesome Hunters coming to warrant calling it that.
I'm going to go back into the Marvel Universe. I'm a sucker for the character. I've enjoyed some of what I've read from this creator, what I have read, and that's Thor by Donny Cates. I really enjoyed the Jason Aaron run on Thor. I have all of that. Any Thor omnibus that has come out, except for the Matt Fraction one, I wasn't completely sold on that based off of public opinion from friends that I trust. But this one I want to give a chance to because I just kind of like Donny Cates' imagination. His crossover stuff that he did with Image kind of sold me on him. So I'm interested to see how this unfolds. And again, it's a complete cover to cover. This is the series. I'm not too invested in it. If I don't necessarily love it, it's not going to break my heart, but I'm real curious. And I haven't given modern Marvel much of a chance in the last couple of years. So
Same.
This, I feel, it might be a safer way. Like, I haven't had opportunities to get the Immortal Hulk, which I know people absolutely love, and I did enjoy it while I was reading it, but I would probably lean toward Thor. I'm not sure why I'm a sucker for the character, but yeah, it's one of those things I'm like,
I find your Thor fascination so weirdly interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the mythological aspect of, like, you could be dealing with the Avengers or you're way out in Asgard and dealing with completely different set of storytelling, right? It can be very grounded, and you've got the whole godly aspect of the father and son storyline with him and his dad, but then he could be with Beta Ray Bill on a completely cosmic adventure. And I'm just like, he's fighting the Eternals or the Celestials. Like, why? But I want to know because he can. It makes sense. He's a Norse god.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't.
You can put him in these ridiculously fantastical situations, or really oddly down to earth ones where he's just a complete fish out of water.
And there's a certain corniness to the way that they, depending on how they write him, like how many times does Dan Jurgens make him say, "I say thee nay," and I just laugh every time. Right? It just makes me laugh. So for some reason, this keeps attracting my attention. Dave, take it away. You're number 5.
This is a 5-issue series called Dudley Datson and the Forever Machine. This is from Dark Horse, written by Scott Snyder, arts by Jamal Igle. And I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to read the thing, dude. It's a rollicking adventure story about a boy and his dog and a machine that controls time and space. What could go wrong? And dude, you know I love a bit of time travel. You know I like a bit of that. But it's Snyder, and I'm intrigued by some of Snyder's stuff at the minute because he's seems to be keeping well away from the big stuff, and he's just doing his own thing elsewhere, largely through Dark Horse by the looks of it, doing lots of self-contained little stories. And there've been quite a few that have appealed to me, but I just haven't gotten around to them. But you talk about time travel, and I am in. Yeah, this is a 5-issue collected edition. It's due out in October. That's all I got. I don't want to even read too much about it because I love this time travel shit, and I want to find out for myself what it's actually about.
We should do a top 10 time travel stories. Why haven't we done that yet?
I don't know.
There you go.
That's because I know what one of them would be.
Oh, that's funny. Very nice. All right.
Cool.
Numero 5 for me. Is that where we're at?
We there.
Okay. All right. My 5th one is, again, going to be something that I've mentioned before. Daniel Warren Johnson, Extremity, Deluxe Edition. Reason being is because Daniel Warren Johnson, but also this is the series that I initially had read that made me my first introduction to him, suggested to me by my pal Shane Amato, Shane Heron. It's just really great stuff. I enjoyed it. It made me want to check out everything he would do thereafter. And I think what followed this would have been Murder Falcon.
Yeah, you could be right.
Extremity is the story about a young girl who was an artist. And in this dystopian-esque future that is somewhat barbaric, filled with, Dungeons and Dragons and monsters and whatnot, something happens to her hand. And the premise of the story is like familial revenge. There's a certain level of pride and integrity, but also the story of artists. And he just finds a way to take these themes that you wonder, like, how are you going to make it work? Like, how are you going to make a story about like a hidden gem, like do a power bomb? How are you going to get that story to have heart in it? Or even Murder Falcon.
Yeah.
Great bombastic ideas, but then you find a way to make the reader go, oh.
It's the down to earth. It's the juxtaposition of the down to earth mixed in with the utterly fantastical.
This was that first introduction for me.
Yeah, I could see why you'd like that actually, man. I do need to give it another try.
Yeah, I remember you had read it and you were just like, I guess. You're a fan of the stuff that followed.
Yeah.
But I got to give it a reread, but I remember reading it and being pleasantly surprised at the ride that I was taking on, and I'm like, I'm going to give this guy a shot. He's worth it. Had an interview with him just after this series had come out, so I do have, I forget how long it was, but I do have an interview with Daniel Warren Johnson talking about this series, so you could check that out on Cave of Solitude archives. But
do it.
Just before the Murder Falcon series dropped, or right issue number 1 had come out, so that was the extent of where he had been in his career. Clearly, he's blown up quite a bit since, but big fan. DWJ. Extremity, check it out.
DWJ. It's 312 pages, oversized hardcover.
Yeah, 12 issues.
12
all of
issues.
It's there. Worthwhile. Check it out.
Do we want a real quick? I've actually got quite a lot on the list, so I might just pick out some stuff. Shall I do it?
Do it.
Okay. Real fast. Quick rundown of what else there is coming out. From Boom, we've got Book of Slaughter Volume 1, which ties into Something is Killing the Children. The Berserker Deluxe Edition, which is Matt Kint and Keanu Reeves and Ron Garney together. Memetic, the Apocalyptic Trilogy Deluxe Edition, which I think was a Vertigo series originally from James Tynion. From Dark Horse, there is tons. Dracula Book 1, The Impaler by Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones. I mean, that nearly made my list, because it's Kelly Jones on Dracula. Hellboy, the BPRD, 1952-55, trade paperback. Star Wars Vader's Castle Library Edition is coming out, and I'm not really into the Star Wars comics, but that one really appeals to me. Like the new Dark Horse Star Wars stuff that's coming out has some kind of weird charm to it. Wanted and Big Game Library Edition. DC have got American Vampire Book 1, which is the trade paperback version. It's quite a chunker. Animal Man Compendiums. Batman the Cult, which is the 1980s Batman series by Jim Starlin, is coming out in deluxe edition.
Yes. Oh.
From Dynamite, we've got Savage Red Sonja, which is written by Dan Panosian. I don't think it's his art, though. I think that's by Alessio Patillo. IDW have got Godzilla's 70th anniversary hardcover, which looks like a nice little anthology book. There's also the Hell, Ink and Water Art of Mike Mignola book coming out from them as well. From Image, Radiant Black Year 1, and a lot of people are really looking forward to that. So that's the deluxe edition. Marvel have got some really bizarre stuff coming out. One being, and this was mentioned in the chat, and I think it was Reed Reeds who mentioned Future Imperfect. So it's Incredible Hulk Epic Collection, Future Imperfect. It's Peter David on Hulk. Like, how many times I need to tell you? Listen with your ears. Also, for some reason that month, I nearly got the Dazzler Omnibus because I'm trying to complete my certain 80s period of Marvel. But I remembered that it's shit, so I'm not going to get that. Ghost Rider 2099 Omnibus. There's some really... Godzilla, the original Marvel Years Omnibus. It's a really strange month. X-Men Extinction Agenda Omnibus. Moon Knight by Jed McKay, which I think I heard good things about. From Rebellion 2000 AD, we've got Nemesis the Warlock Definitive Edition Volume 2. Those definitive editions look gorgeous. Titan, if you didn't get the Marvel Omnis for Conan, this is your chance to jump on. So with Conan the Barbarian, the original comics omnibus Volume 1. Also Killtopia, the complete edition. And the other one from Valiant and Alien Books that we didn't mention was Valiant Hero Universe Origins Harbinger. Great series.
It's so good. Just reading. Oh, okay. Omega Bread can distract me with his comments, make me laugh, and I'm like, I better just hold it together.
Oh my God, that is grim. Dude. Oh.
Okay.
Jeez.
And that's how we end the show. Give us something to edit, Omega. That should be on a t-shirt. Give us something to edit. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I know that it was a bit of a heavy-hearted one, but it needed to be acknowledged, and we thank you guys for joining us and sticking with us this week for our incoming for October. It's going to be a fun month of stuff coming out, like great reading material for sure. So hopefully that there's something on the list today that will meet your fancy, and you'll enjoy it as much as we have some of this. Like, I can't wait to read Revival for the 5 stars. When Dave gives something 5 stars,
read it again now.
There you go. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up, rate and subscribe. Visit omniversecomics.guide.
And subscribe to omniversecomics.guide for more bonus material.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back. Mom, we'll be back. We love you. Bye, guys.
Oh, thanks, y'all. See you soon.